Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Ape Escape 3 Part 7. So now we're finally going after the Monkey Yellow boss. Monkey Yellow seems to have a thing for Kay, a really big, soft spot for Kay. He really, as if he wants to marry Kay, which he actually does that in the Ape Escape Big mission, which is a spin-off game where you can play as this thing that takes over the monkeys as helmets, and you can actually take control of the monkeys, and Yellow Monkey tries to marry Kay in that game. In this game, he seems to really be interested in Kay. He even gave Kay the option to be his personal chef forever and ever. I can imagine him saying things like, I want you to be my poison or poison forever. Something that all sounds a bit like Winslow from Cat Dog. And Monkey Yellow makes it sound like it's normal for people in Japan to be really large and fat. I don't want to have a marriage relationship with a little boy. He already did it to Jimmy in Ape Escape 2, and now he wants to do it to Kay in this game. Monkey Yellow is really messed in the head. I bet people in Japan hate him. I bet he's banned from Japan. Monkey Yellow reminds me of a book I read somewhat recently. It's called Cloning Freedom, and it's by an author named Stephen Pearl. It's a pretty good book. I recommend reading it if you can. There's a character in that book named Henry, and he reminds me a lot of Monkey Yellow. He's like that kind of guy who craves relations with other people, and well, I'm not gonna explain it too much, but yeah, Cloning Freedom by Stephen Pearl. I recommend reading the book if you can. It's a good indie book. I like to support indie authors. I consider myself to be an indie author, so I'm writing my first book right now too, and I'll probably be writing more books in the time coming, so yeah, I recommend, supporting, authors supporting other authors, writers support other writers, artists support other artists, and YouTubers support other YouTubers. Oh, I really support other YouTubers, alright. I always like to favorite and subscribe to people that really deserve favorites and subscribes from me. So we took down the TV station, the TV satellite radar dish in this level, and now we took out Monkey Yellow, of course.
Well, that was just awesome.
Yeah, that was just awesome. We could take him out. It seems more Japanese-oriented in this game than they did in the second game.
Out Yellow. What now, Tomoki? Tomoki? Where is your mind at? Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, Spectre, baby! I can hear you just fine, sweetie.
Those pesky humans have gotten yellow.
You mean that Monkey Yellow? No way! Well, it serves him right. I'll be showing off like that trying to outdo me. Why, the next time I meet him,
Pink.
Whoops! Was I thinking out loud again? I really need to stop doing that.
Listen up. New orders. You cannot let those humans get by you.
Oh, baby, you know I've got a rehearsal after this.
Baby? Well, just who do you think you're talking to? I just gave you an order!
Even Monkey Pink seems disgusted with Monkey Yellow. That I'm not surprised.
More came in handy.
Shut up, Aki. Your comments are always useless.
But dear me,
It's just wasting space on the DVD disc that this game came on. So,
body.
yeah, of course he's a weird body. No crap he does. He probably fancies himself a sumo wrestler. And what's this? Oh, we're actually getting one of the best gadgets in the game for once, a Skyflyer. It looks just like the one from Ape Escape 2. It works just the same as the one from Ape Escape 2, which looks very different from the one from Ape Escape 1, but it is by far the best, or one of the best gadgets in the game. It allows us to fly for distances and glide across canyons, chasms. It's a really good gadget for that. I'm going to be needing it to get past all of these heights I'll be coming across, because we're doing some mountain climbing in this level. We're just going to be dealing with other apes that are going to be climbing up mountains and doing the mountain climbs. Might as well be like Mount Everest. Well, it's not Mount Everest, but it could be something like that, some magical mountain, because this level is quite magical, so we'll see in a bit. And there's one monkey that got himself marooned on this edge cliff right here, which leaves him as an easy target for us to capture. Oh, look at that. It's a TV camera there filming a movie that involves the mountains. I forgot to tie a lifeline. I don't think he needs a lifeline, because Ape Escape apes seem to be able to fall from any height imaginable and they could still survive. I think he could fall from this great height. I don't think he'd be dead at all. He'd probably still be perfectly, he'd be perfectly without a scratch. Because monkeys don't even seem to have health in this game. They're like completely, their health is infinite for the most part. At least that's how it seems. And then there's those exploding teleborgs that might as well be like bob-ombs from Ape Escape. So we're going to be doing some mountain climbing. I feel like Indiana Jones when he goes after some hidden treasure somewhere. Some secret treasure is located somewhere in a mountain. I see people are camping out. Sometimes even a movie I saw a long time ago that involved people going to Mount Everest. Like, oh, they're trying to make it seem like, oh, average people of any kind could go to Mount Everest. But then most of them end up getting killed. Like, even the mailman does that. Yeah, I hope it could have been that mailman that lost my package in the mail. Yeah, have him climb up Mount Everest. At least that's so the monkey was camping out there in the tent, or maybe he was waiting for something to come out. Maybe there's a store up here or something like that where the monkeys have to camp out so they can be there first thing in the morning to get the new thing that comes out. I've seen people do that before. People do that at movie theaters sometimes so they can for sure get a ticket to see a movie. I bet people did that when the first Star Wars prequel came out. The first installments in Disney Star Wars trilogy, and even the prequel Star Wars trilogy, the first installments always seem to be the ones that make the most money, and the next two installments don't seem to make anywhere near as much. Happened with the prequels, that with Disney's trilogy. And in terms of how the Ape Escape games were received, that was kind of the case. Ape Escape 1 was like a really well received game, and I had a demo for the original Ape Escape way back in the day, which is how I found out about it. I thought it was one of the greatest things ever, so that's why I bought the full game, and boy, it's one of the greatest things I ever bought. Now the game's expensive as hell and valuable. Good thing there's emulation, but even then, because of the weird control scheme of the game, it's really hard to accurately emulate the original Ape Escape. Even if you do have a PS1 controller, it is still kind of hard, mostly because of the way RetroArch is, how it deals with the controls. But I'm not using RetroArch to play this, mostly because RetroArch can't handle PS2 yet. Even then, it still doesn't fully, how do I say it? It still doesn't fully, it still doesn't fully translate over properly. I still have to, all I have to do is I have to set the D-pad for nulls, because for some reason when I play stuff on my PC, the left analog stick is somehow merged with the D-pad. I don't know how to undo that at all, so I just have to nullify my camera controls, which is done the D-pad, which doesn't really make much of a difference for a game like this, but some PS2 games are unplayable. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is barely playable. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter is not really that playable. The original Star Wars Starfighter is playable, but Star Wars Jedi Starfighter isn't. If I'm going to do a Let's Play of Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, I'm just going to have to film the TV screen or film my screen playing the game, which I have done that before, and I don't have that old JVC that I used to use to play with some of my old games. They were back in the, like in 2019 a lot of the time. I would record myself playing games on that JVC TV. I actually set up my phone and I would record myself playing the games, and the quality was never the best. But then again, the games themselves never really had quality either, playing those PS1 games. I remember I played demos sometimes. I don't really use it for full LPs that much. Well, there were a few times where I did use it for full LPs. Those were the days before I discovered the Microsoft Xbox Game Bar. So now we've climbed so far, we're like in some sort of ancient temple that some monkeys carved up here in the sky, like some temple in the sky, castle in the sky, or something like that. I wonder if that's where the Beach Boys were singing about one of their songs, and the Beach Boys started to get odd, and that's exactly what this level is. This level demonstrates what happens to a lot of sequels, to a lot of franchises that last a long time. They start to go into odd, weird, bizarre territory. That's what this level perfectly demonstrates. It's like we started climbing from the ground, and now we're like in the sky where there's this whole temple filled with like mystical symbols and mystic stuff in the sky. Could there really be something like this in the sky? I mean, a lot of franchises get weird, get stranger and stranger over time. Like Jumping Flash was always a strange franchise, but the third one got even stranger, because you don't even fight against a villain in that game. All you do is just clean people's garages and stuff like that. Hey Robin, can you clean my garage for me? That's all you really do in Jumping Flash Free. Twisted Metal 4 is a really weird game that involves science fiction characters, and it involved like shrinking down to size so you could fight in someone's bedroom, and then you went back in time to Amazonia 3000 BC, and then there was this level called Minions Maze. It looks like an ancient-looking maze filled with demonic sculptures and things everywhere. That's kind of what this level's a bit like. It seems like it's like filled with all kinds of weird like architecture that's carved up in the sky. It's not really demonic at all. It's actually kind of the opposite of demonic. It looks has something like it looks like something could be a place of worship for some odd, obscure religion. The Sky Worshippers, I guess you could say that. There are people that worship the sky. Sky Worshippers. They built this whole temple in the sky, this whole place in the sky, just so they could, I don't know, do their sky worshipping. I bet the air up here isn't really that good. So higher and higher you climb into the air, you start to run out of air. Maybe that helps if they're a religious servant, or whatever it's called for this religion. Maybe it's actually better if you lose some oxygen, so then it feels more like you're more one with their religion or something like that. for being too high in the sky. I guess that's where that term head in the clouds comes from. All he did was had his head in the clouds, or he spent so much time up there that his head is now in the clouds. Yeah, maybe that's what they were implying by up here. Hey, maybe Mufasa is up here, or Darth Vader is up here, or maybe that guy from The Simpsons is up here. What was his name again? Bleeding Gums Murphy? Maybe he's up here somewhere. Up in this temple, this ancient sky temple. I can imagine there being a level in Jumping Flash. It's like this. I know a lot of, and some series that I've been writing for a long time have started to take on weird ways, like Jason and Mason, for example, my longest running series I've written. They began with very stories where they deal with political corruption, and they deal with all sorts of shysters and people like that, and they have to fight them off, and they have to fight off your average run-of-the-mill villains, their friend Captain Fusion. But then as the series went on, they started to discover this thing called the Ultraverse, where all these universes exist in this one place called the Ultraverse, and then they run into all kinds of crazy, bizarre stuff that could be going on in the Ultraverse, and that could be happening in other universes. They come across all kinds of crazy stuff, and then it becomes all focused on Ultraverses and Ultraverse lore, and then it becomes a really ridiculous series. And Odyssey of Oddities, the other series I really write a lot about, it kind of has that too, where it begins, it's always an odd series, but it begins up where they're in a town and stuff like that, a crazy town, that's supposed to be an insane asylum that looks like a crazy town. And they always try to overthrow the mayor, but then the later episode it starts to become science fiction stuff, and there's a war for another planet and things like that. It really does evolve into such a epic saga of romance and rebellion across the stars. And there's Ivan's War, which is always, it's still in its earlier stages, but it's always been that kind of stuff. So this is Ray Phoenix signing out.